Update 2.5 is out right now, and this is actually a pretty big update with a lot of actual changes to the game. None of them are going to change the way you play the game in any major way, but a few nice quality of life improvements have been added and I'm quite happy with them. So in this video I will be talking a little bit about the Genealogy Banner, which should be out tonight if you're watching this video the day it's been uploaded. Then we'll cover the changes made to a few game modes and discuss some changes all players will be affected by. Don't worry, none of it is anything bad. Last, we'll look at the new weapon refinery upgrades and I'll provide a few of my thoughts on each of them. Here are some timestamps because I will be talking about the new banner for a bit, and I've already discussed a few of the things on this update before, so feel free to skip around. Let's get into it. First up, the Genealogy Banner, which includes Ares, a sword cavalier, Lene, a sword dancer, and Ishtar, who is a blue infantry mage. Now, let me just say that I think a lot of people saw the thumbnail for this YouTube video and immediately thought someone like Tiki was getting another alt version, and there must have been a big collective sigh of relief when it turns out that was not the case. I do think the artwork for everyone is pretty good for the most part. I really like Ares' design, and Ishtar could pass for an army unit with those giant shoulder pauldrons. I haven't played Fire Emblem before, but you can figure out that Ares is Eldigan's son because of his weapon, and it seems like Ishtar is a pretty popular character of her own. Not to mention, Reinhardt is her personal bodyguard. For skills, not too many new passives, but everyone does come with a new weapon of their own. Ares has the Dark Miscellaneous, and it sounds pretty crazy. It grants special cooldown -1, but it also reduces special cooldown after combat if Ares uses his special before or during that round of combat. Basically, this is every special except for Gale Force, I believe. We can use his natural Draconic Aura as an example. Let's say Ares gets a kill on an enemy using Draconic Aura. Dark Miscellaneous will reduce its cooldown by -2, meaning Draconic Aura is ready again, because remember it will also be on a 2-turn cooldown instead of a 3-turn cooldown. You can have a lot of crazy strategies with this weapon, and you'll probably want to use it with a 3-turn special or maybe even the AoE specials. Vantage will also be probably a key skill on Ares because again a 3-turn special will be ready again if he uses it during a fight. His brazen attack / defense skill also plays into this idea because if Ares is in Vantage range, he is also in brazen attack / defense range. As for seal defense / res 2, I think this is okay, but as with all the other seal type skills, they just aren't as useful as Vantage or quick riposte. Next, Lene comes with a new inheritable sword called Safeguard, which basically grants +7 defense anytime the enemy initiates a fight first. It's nice to see a weapon like this, and you can have some really tanky physical walls make use of this weapon. Now do remember that Lene is a dancer, our second red dancer in the game. Olivia is a pretty fantastic dancer herself, but having multiple dancers is always great for modes like Arena Assault or Squad Assault modes. To me, any dancer is a great unit to get. Lene's B skill is Firestorm Dance, and this is a dancer only skill that grants a +3 attack and speed buff to any unit that Lene uses dance on. I think these skills are good, but in Arena, Wings of Mercy or something else will be more beneficial. Last, Lene comes with Sword Valor, and the Valor skills are always great to have because they grant double SP to all sword units you can train up. An amazing skill to have on a dancer as well. Last, we have Ishtar, who carries Mjolnir and is actually our first tome weapon with the special cooldown -1 effect, at least I think so. Its second effect is that if Ishtar initiates combat, she gains +6 speed, and this is otherwise known as Darting Blow 3. Very nice and simple. To add to this immense speed, she of course comes with Swift Sparrow, and I guarantee you Ishtar will continue the legacy of no 4-star rarity Swift Sparrow fodder. Basically, Ishtar initiates a fight, and she already gains +4 attack and +10 speed. If she doubles, then Moonbow on a 1-turn cooldown is guaranteed to proc as well. Her B skill is Vantage, which is alright, but more important is her new C skill. Odd Attack Wave seems to be a new line of C skills, and oh boy, there are going to be a ton of different variations for these. So at the start of odd numbered turns, such as turn 1 or turn 3, Ishtar or any adjacent allies will gain +6 attack for 1 turn. This is a field buff. Also important to note that the user will always get the +6 attack buff and does not need allies to trigger its effects. Basically, I believe this is the very first buffing skill that actually buffs the user as well. For Ishtar, this skill is pretty great. On odd numbered turns, if Ishtar starts a fight, she gains +10 attack and +10 speed. Oh boy. Personally, I'm not a huge fan of the odd or even turn type skills that Fates and I believe other games had. They are cool, but I just think it's annoying to have to plan that far ahead, and most of the times, I'm just going to ignore what turn it is anyway. Now for heroes, you can imagine that other odd wave skills will be added like odd defense wave, odd speed wave. There's also probably going to be the even wave skills, and I really hope they don't go as far as mixing the stats for things like odd attack / speed wave, odd defense / res wave. It's just going to get very confusing. I think when it's active, odd attack wave will be very strong, but having to account for its every other turn condition may be more annoying. For static maps like Grand Hero Battles, you can usually plan out your moves, so I can see good usage there. However, this is a buff that only works on adjacent allies, not in a 2-turn zone like the tactic skills. Overall, I think this banner actually looks pretty good. I'm real curious to see Dark Mistletoe in action, and Lene being a dancer is always a good reason to get her. Ishtar looks pretty scary as an offensive mage, and Odd Attack Wave just might become the next hot trend in a meta game. To be honest, I see myself forgetting about those skills in Arena and losing because on this specific turn, their team got a huge attack buff or something. I think this banner will be an interesting one, and I might summon on it, although I may just end up saving my orbs after all the Golden Week events. If you didn't read the full notification on the in-game message board, it is also confirmed that Julius will be getting his own Grand Hero battle happening on the night of May 13th or May 14th for most of the world. After taking a look at his unique weapon, my interest has definitely been piqued, so it's safe to say I'll make a video about him when he releases. We just keep getting more and more Grand Hero battle units. Now to get through the update 2.5 changes, let's start with Arena. First off, the max amount of wins you need for a high score now has been reduced to 5 from 7. That's 2 less matches you need to worry about running into something that can end your deathless streak. Along with this, offensive rewards have been replaced with chain rewards. Win 5 matches in a row to get everything, and these amounts are overall a tiny bit more than what the max offense rewards were. Last major change is that any bonus units you use on your arena teams get the Tempest Trials buff of plus 10 HP and plus 4 to all other stats. This does not factor into arena rating score, but the enemy bonus units will not receive these buffs, meaning you should have a better time if you use more of these units. That being said, I have to imagine that defense wins will be hard to get, so if you are one of those players who barely get one defense win a week, you might want to start looking into building a better team. We'll have to see how these changes affect arena play, but I'm a little happy they are shaking things up for once. Tap battle changes are pretty small, but basically they are adding even more extra stages from day 4 onward. At least that's how I interpret it. Clearing a stage also grants your hero merit, and while it's not a huge amount, at least it's something nice for those who like playing this mode. The last change mentioned is that Tap Battle will be getting those notifications that cycle through on the home screen, letting you know that more stages are available. The biggest changes to rival domains is that enemy units who warp to a camp or fortress area won't be able to attack in the same turn. Now important to note that your units can still attack after warping, and I did test that out. An interesting change, and we'll have to see how people respond to it in the coming weeks. Next, the enemies in rival domains for the week will always be the same, meaning each stage will have the same enemies and the same reinforcements. To make it slightly less repetitive, they are increasing the enemy brigade size to 40 units, meaning you shouldn't run into repeated units as often as you defeat them. I'm going to guess that these changes will apply to Grand Conquest, except for the same enemy units part. In the update notes, they actually mentioned they are working on more changes for Grand Conquest, so when it returns, expect something to be different. So I'm guessing like 99% of you watching this are not brand new players, so I'll go through this one fast. For completely new players, they will receive all the tutorial units at 4-star rarity. The first hero they summon will also be changed from Virion to Takumi. The tutorial has some added explanations, and the training tower will be fully unlocked once players complete Prologue Part 3. The auto battle button is now on the battle screen, and enemy strength has been adjusted, which I'm guessing is just to compensate for the starting units being 4 stars instead of 2 stars. Again, this is basically just for new players. Most of you will not be affected by this at all. Now there are a few changes everyone will be subjected to. First off, units lost in battle will not lose their XP or SP earned, which is amazing for training purposes. To me, I love using those new training maps to level up and grind SP. Sometimes my units get overrun, but this change means I won't be punished for making it to the end, but having my trainee die. The next change is that previously cleared maps will no longer penalize you with lower XP and SP gains. So basically, you could do all the story, paralog, and chain challenges over again, and your units will earn full SP and XP values. For veterans, you may have known about using the normal chain challenges to farm SP by doing 9 stages then surrendering on the last map. By and large, this has been obsolete ever since Year 2's introduction of the daily training maps. However, if you're like me and never needed the extra feathers immediately, you may have still kept them uncompleted. With this change, you can complete these chain challenges, and if for some reason you wanted to use them to farm SP, then you can do so. The other kind of big change is a new feature being added. There is a new setting called Foe/Ally Auto Battle Movement. It comes with 2 settings. When switched to guided, movements and actions will be shown in more detail, and you can see it in action to the right. Basically, instead of being confused what just happened, the game will let you see what unit is moving where and what action they take. The other setting is called Simple, and this is the setting you want if you do not want to see these full actions. Basically, it turns this feature off. One important thing, if you do want to use this feature, you must not have the setting called Auto No Animation set to on. That also turns off all animations during auto battle. This is just a quality of life feature, nothing that will affect actual gameplay. Now you may have heard about this earlier, but basically because of the new player changes, we are getting a gift. This is available for anyone who played before update 2.5. You will get 1 4-star Takumi, and yes, Close Counter is locked to 5-star rarity anyway. You will also get a ton of materials to upgrade the original tutorial units like the Asker Trio to 4-star rarity. For most people, the main part is just the 13,000 feathers we are getting, which is very nice to have. Basically, free stuff, and everyone likes free stuff. Here we have some other changes in Update 2.5. Summoning movies will no longer play, but you can still view them if you want. More sacred seals are available for crafting if you missed them from their respective Tempest trials. Biggest hyped up change is that you can now turn off enemy phase music from disrupting the music of the map, and I highly recommend you do so. In the catalog, units who have gotten new weapons like Felicia and her plate will be holding their new weapons now. And last, support for Android 8.0's adaptive icons will be added. I have no idea what that is. Pretty happy to finally see the enemy phase music changes because, let's be honest, no one wants to hear it after every single turn change. Last thing to cover is our new weapon refinery upgrades. Starting with Camilla, she gets her own unique axe. It has 16 might, and if Camilla is within 2 spaces of a cavalry or flying ally, she gains +4 attack and speed during combat. Now if you go with her special effect upgrade, then she will grant +3 attack and speed to any cavalry and flying allies within 2 spaces during combat. Now I think this is a pretty nice effect, and in a flying team, Camilla with a gold flyer sea scope will be passing along +7 attack and speed to her allies during combat. Camilla herself already has a decent amount of defense and resistance, so her gaining more attack and speed is pretty nice to see. I think this weapon will truly shine along with other flyer buffs like Hone and Gold Flyers. Next we have Clair, who got the Ramp Fire, and I have to say it's got one of the best looking sprites in the game. I love it. It's a 16 might weapon, and basically it has the same effects as Sheeta's Wing Sword with effectiveness against cavalry and army units. Refining it gets the same Flashing Blade effect, and remember, this is unique because flyers cannot actually inherit Flashing Blade as an A skill in the first place. Clair and Sheeta are very similar stat wise, so really between the two of them, it just comes down to if you want a sword or a lance user. I actually think the dual effectiveness weapons are actually pretty good because you gain effectiveness against so many different units, and the low attack units like Clair really love that extra attack boost. Overall, it's not super unique, but I think it's a very solid weapon. Last we have Corrin, who just got a new effect for his Yato sword. So if you upgrade Yato to any new refinement, it gets a new effect and loses its Darting Blow 2 effect. This new effect is essentially +2 to all stats except for HP. If you go with his special upgrade, then if Corrin is within 2 spaces of his support partner, he grants them +4 to all stats during combat. Now I like this skill because it's the first to incorporate the ally support system. Ally support already grants +1 or +2 to all stats at S rank, meaning Corrin standing next to his support partner will be buffing them by +6 to all stats before any other buffs. This upgrade literally only works if you use Corrin with his support partner, which means it's a bit niche. However, he can make someone super strong just by himself. If you want an all-around team buffer, then Marth will be the unit of your choice, but I can see Corrin being useful if you choose the right allies to support. Now I've seen some people discussing forgoing the special upgrade to choose a stat upgrade because Corrin would get +5 HP, one stat that is extra boosted, and then +2 to the rest of his stats. With the speed upgrade, that would be +5 speed, and choosing the defense upgrade would be +6 defense. A plus speed boon Corrin with a speed refined Yato would reach 40 base speed, and he'd be pretty tanky as well. Some people are going to say upgraded Yato is bad, and I can see why, but I see this as an upgrade that you as a player will have to get creative with. This is probably not a weapon you want to upgrade if you aren't planning on investing in Corrin. There's nothing really fancy going on here, it's just a straight stat increase. So there's been a little bit of surprise in this update, and it's that Lucina, Chrom, and Master Marth will all be able to get access to Exalted Chrom's Sealed Falchion as an evolution side grade. I don't think it's a strict upgrade over their other Falchion upgrades, but the two effects are quite different, and I've never gotten to use either of them. It's there if you want it, but I wouldn't say it's a must-have. That wraps up everything about Update 2.5, as well as a little bit about the next banner from Genealogy of the Holy War. Now that the update is out, I would like to hear you guys' thoughts about the new changes, and perhaps if you've decided to go for any of the new weapon upgrades. I'd also like to hear what people think about Ares, Lene, and Ishtar, and if you'll be trying to get them if you haven't already spent everything during Golden Week. Overall, a pretty nice update with some cool quality of life changes that we can all appreciate. That's it for this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.